Little advice for guys out there. You got to be careful about who you choose to be your wife because your children will be reflecting the values she teaches them.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. The sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.
On Father's Day 2023, the daughters of hip hop mogul Russell Simmons decided to not express love for their father, but decided to express their greatest contempt for him. And over the course of Father's Day 2023, the daughters of Russell Simmons decided to go on social media to air all of the dirty laundry regarding the dysfunction of their family. Now, this disrespect towards Russell Simmons started out when the older daughter, Ming Lee, decided to wish their mother and former model, Kimora Simmons, a happy Father's Day. And it further escalated as his youngest daughter, Aoki Lee Simmons, decided to go out and present images of her father and video of her father on FaceTime, showing how he was being allegedly abusive and controlling. And as she showed these FaceTime video screenshots and text messages from her father, she was looking to present an image of an allegedly abusive and controlling man. Now, when I look at this whole situation as related to the issues that the Simmons family is having, it really reminds me a lot of what I saw and experienced growing up in the South Bronx. Now, back in the South Bronx, I used to see a lot of mothers go out here and speak badly against their children's fathers, and they would speak badly about the issues they were having with the children's father in front of their children, not seeing how this would have a negative impact on them. And that's what I was seeing here as related to what was going on with the drama between Russell Simmons and his daughters and his first wife. I was seeing how they were looking to go out here and embarrass and emasculate their father because they felt disrespected by him, because they said that they were allegedly not being supported by him. And they felt like they were not being supported by him because he allegedly cut off his daughters as this year, because his youngest daughter, Aoki Lee Simmons, says he did not support her final year in Harvard. And according to Kimora, she says that she's going out here and covering much of the financial support for Russell Simmons over the last year. So they feel like they have been betrayed by Russell Simmons, and what they want to do is go out here and humiliate, embarrass, and emasculate Russell Simmons, who is known in many business circles as a hip-hop media mogul for running Def Jam Records, a business that he started in order to manage his brother, who was a part of Run DMC, and his further business ventures like Fat Farm, the fashion part of his hip-hop music empire. Russell Simmons was a very successful businessman, but sadly, it doesn't look like he was very successful as related to his family. And because it doesn't look like he was very successful as related to his family is not looking to go out here and protect and preserve the image of the family and make the patriarch appear to be strong. No, instead of trying to look to protect everything as related to the optics of Russell Simmons, what they want to do is tear this man down. And this is something that really happens a lot of times with a lot of these feminist indoctrinated women. A lot of these feminist indoctrinated women will make every effort to try to tear down a man that they're involved with, especially if they feel that they have been betrayed by that man, the way Kimora Simmons possibly feels that she was betrayed by Russel Simmons. Now, Kimora Simmons basically got involved with Russel Simmons years ago and possibly had this expectation that she was going to be able to be a part of his empire and be the wife of him in that empire, and had this expectation that he was going to be faithful and loyal to her. But when she possibly heard allegations of him allegedly cheating, what happened was that the relationship deteriorated and they possibly wound up separating. And this basically, I believe, made Kimora extremely bitter. And as she got bitter, like many of the women that I saw in the South Bronx, she started telling stories to her daughters about how bad a man Russel Simmons was. And Russel Simmons, for his own, on the other side of it, as I see it, possibly was one of these guys who, like many guys who grew up in the 70s and the 80s, thought, oh, if I give this woman a lot of money, this will be able to create a covert contract where I can go out here and get a pass for all of the cheating that I do and all of the wrong that I do. And that's possibly what he thought he could do with his daughters, go out here and buy their love. But sadly, instead of him taking the time to actually be a father and show his respect for his family, what happened was his family basically felt betrayed, and as they felt betrayed, this is what led to all of this anger as related to the family. And again, in spite of all of the success his two daughters have, the sad part is they didn't learn one of the core elements of a success, and that is having respect for your elders. Because people who don't have respect for their parents basically show that they're just a complete mess. And again, what these two daughters did to their father, even though they were having issues with him, just really hit below the belt. And it was just completely out of line for these two daughters to go out here and look to embarrass their father on Father's Day. I mean, it was extremely disrespectful for the older daughter, Ming Lee, to go out here and wish their mom Father's Day after everything that her father did for her. I mean, if it wasn't for her father going out here and building that business, she wouldn't have been able to go to these private schools, wouldn't have been able to live the lifestyle that she has or have the connections that she has. And again, the ultimate form of disrespect to her father was to sit there and wish her mother happy Father's Day. And again, this was done to emasculate Russel Simmons in all of the business and social circles and make it look like he was not a man. This was an ultimate form of disrespect directed at Russel Simmons. And again, this is something that any daughter who has no respect for her father would do. Because living in the South Bronx, I know a lot of girls who had fathers who were not there the way the mother wanted them to be, but they would not go out here and go this far, because to go this far is an expression of the ultimate disrespect. But Ming Lee decided she was going to go out here and do this whole on the mother and the father crap as related to Kimora, showing how she was just bought into her side of the story without ever getting the side of the story from her father. And the other daughter, Aoki Lee Simmons, further looked to embarrass and emasculate Russel Simmons by going out here and posting the video and FaceTime of him being so-called abusive and controlling as related to these text messages. And again, this was another form of disrespect directed at Russel Simmons in order to try to make him lose face and embarrass him in social circles. And again, a low blow, because when you're having issues with your father, what you do is you take that man in private and you go out here and express those issues in private in a tactful way. That's what people do when they respect someone. But in this case, these women wanted to show how little respect they had for him. And again, this is something that possibly was simmering and boiling for an extended period of time. And it basically wound up with these two women basically exploding in rage and looking to go out here and make their father the bad guy, not understanding how you were showing how you have been two women in crisis, indoctrinated into feminism, to believe that expressing disrespect to your father is something positive. Because every man out here who would look at these women and their behavior need to understand that the disrespect shown to Russel Simmons will be the disrespect shown to you if you have a situation with them. If things don't go these two daughters' way, what these women are showing that if they can't get their way, they will go out here and emasculate and embarrass their man. And again, that's not something that makes these women appear to be wife material. I mean, in the case of these two Simmons daughters, they are not wife material, and they're not wife material because they've gone out here and shown how little respect they have for their father. And for them to, again, embarrass him like this doesn't make any man think of them as partners they can trust. Because if you'll do this type of thing to your own father, we don't know what you're capable of doing to a man in a relationship. So when I look at these two daughters, basically they have shown how much Kimora Lee Simmons has failed as their teacher. Kimora has failed to raise daughters who will be functional, because even though the youngest daughter has a degree from Harvard, she shows that she has not learned the basics about womanhood and showing respect for a man. Because even if you have an issue with your father, again, you just deal with this discreetly in private, or you just learn how to just accept that this is who that man is, and you leave things where they are. I mean, when I listen to these daughters saying, oh, he was ranting and raving about things when people disagree with him, that really, and he gets angry and speaks bad about the mother. Again, this is where you try to be discreet with that man, and you don't bring business in the street to embarrass him. Now, when I look at the whole situation as related to Russel Simmons, in some ways he is reaping what he sowed, later than what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, because Russel Simmons did a lot of bad to the black community. I mean, Russel Simmons was with a guy who basically took hip-hop and sold it completely out and made it into the thug and gangster rap that it was. And he went out here and had some alleged affairs on Kimora Lee Simmons, if you believe the sexual misconduct allegations that many of the women in the Me Too movement made in 2017. Now, after these allegations, this is where Russel Simmons' daughter and his wife make the claim that Russel Simmons' behavior started to change for the worse. And as I listened to their story about Russel Simmons' behavior changing for the worse, that's where I started to think about my book, The Man Crisis, because that behavior fits the pattern and profile for beta males. Because a lot of times with beta males, they want to live a double life, and what they want to do is live in a smooth world. And I believe what happened with Russel Simmons was he wanted to live in that smooth world where he could be this media mogul who was out here and was respected. However, he was living a life in the secret world as related to his relationships allegedly with women. And it was when the secret world was revealed as related to those Me Too allegations in 2017, that's when Russel Simmons, I believe, got embarrassed. And he also, as he got embarrassed, got really angry, because with many beta males, what these men do is once they have their world basically revealed to everyone, that's when they start to become very angry, and they start participating in behavior that destroys the world around them. And that's what basically happened here with Russel Simmons as related to his family. That's when he wanted to start getting really controlling. That's when he really started to get angry because he felt like his world was falling apart around him as related to these allegations. And that's when he started calling his daughters, shouting when they didn't agree with him, called their friends and her boyfriend, harassed the grandmother, and started speaking foul about the mother because his world was basically falling apart. And as his world was falling apart as related to these allegations, he started to go out here and wanted to go out here and try to get more control by being more controlling, wanted to try to keep his world together. But the sad part is that Russel Simmons was that his problem started when he wanted to create this smooth world where he was going to be this unethical guy in the secret world as related to business and his social relationships with women, and then was going to try to put this facade up that he was going to be this big-time media mogul who had this great family, but his entire world was just completely falling apart because with beta males, again, because they are living a double life, they are divided individuals, and because they are divided individuals, their two worlds just basically make it where they struggle as related to direction. So Russel Simmons' behavior fits that pattern and profile as I see the beta males, but when I look at his daughters, their reaction to him just shows how completely out of line they are. And they're out of line because basically they don't respect their father, and they don't respect their father because they don't see him as a leader or an authority figure they regard. And that's what happens to a lot of beta male fathers. While they have great success as related to business, in their personal lives, everything is out of order, and everything is out of order because a lot of these men just do not know how to lead a family. And because they don't know how to lead a family, what happens is that the family starts running them instead of them running the family. And that's what happens here with Russel Simmons. His family ran him, and it ran him because they have no respect for him as a male leader or a male authority figure, and because the mother didn't teach her daughters to respect his male authority, this is why they are expressing disrespect towards him, and they're expressing disrespect towards him because their mother basically was the one who taught them to think badly about their father. And again, I saw a lot of this happen when I was growing up in the South Bronx, and this made a lot of girls not really learn how to respect their fathers. And what they didn't understand is that the disrespect that was directed at their father, this is going to impact them later on, because what happened was these women never learned how to trust a man. And when I look at Russel Simmons' IG a while ago, where Loki Lee Simmons shows a picture of her, she said, until a short time ago, this was the man who always told me, always defend and look after your mother's girls. Never let a man curse you out. You call daddy if a man ever tries to yell at you or scare you. Real men don't shout at women and girls. And again, that's beta male talking points, because a lot of times again, you're going to have arguments, you're going to have discussions, and again, daddy can't save you. You have to learn how to work with a man. And again, if you work with a man, you never have to get to that point in most cases, and you don't have to get to the point where communication deteriorates like that. And again, you have Russel Simmons further on in this IG post saying, so all the toxic men in my comments, I'm defending him to be foul. Again, this whole thing, it just shows how Russel Simmons was basically been exposed to be a hypocrite. And again, very, very just shows how his home is dysfunctional, because he was talking about, defend your mother and your sister. Don't let any man talk to you crazy. And again, shows how the family has basically deteriorated. And again, the family has deteriorated because, again, they don't respect their father. And sadly, that was the first lesson Kimura didn't teach her daughters, was even if you're having issue with your father, you never disrespect your father, because your father was the man who brought you in this world. And as the man who brought you in this world, you show him the basic as related to respect. And even if you're having issues with him, you take everything that is related to the respect you show him and make it a priority. And if you're going to go out here and have issues with him, you keep it in private. You don't take it personal and take it outside, because the take it outside is going to make your father lose face. And if your father loses face, the entire world will lose respect for him. And that is, again, what happened here as related to Russel Simmons, that sadly shows how his decision to pick Kimora as a wife was a mistake. Because if your wife cannot go out here and teach your daughters to respect you, then you have basically picked the wrong woman for a wife. Because as their first teacher, this is the first lesson she needs to teach, even if she's having issues with you, to have respect for your father and to show him respect, to keep his business out of the street. Because when he loses face, you lose face, and people will lose respect for you because you showed no respect for your father. Now, if you want to pick up my books that feature positive images of black fathers, like the Thetas, or an image of a father in a mixed race situation like the novel Spellbound, or my other book with a black father, Recipe for Success, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find these books at other online booksellers like Barnes & Noble, Smashworth, the iBookstore, and Google Play, with other books like the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and other books that I have done like the vampire novel Eternal Night. And if you'd like to see me do more videos about the entertainment industry, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.